Part 103. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1021. As soon as she entered the box, Lin Shuwen seemed to become the eldest sister of those beauties, commanding them. When she found someone who was not enthusiastic enough, she would walk over from time to time to remind her what she should do if she wanted to be more enthusiastic. Sitting back in her seat, she naturally leaned against Zhang Chen, calling her brother, drinking, playing dice, and looking for songs they could sing together. When Lu Ligan got here, of course he had to perform his hey 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 hey, making everyone laugh and laugh. After he had enjoyed himself, he remembered that Mr. Han hadn't told him why the floor price was auctioned. He walked over and patted the shoulder of the beautiful woman sitting next to Mr. Han. The girl stepped aside and Lu Lepole sat down between them. Lu Ligan hadn't spoken yet. Mr. Han seemed to know what he wanted to ask and was waiting for him to ask. It was too noisy in the box. Old Tan was singing 1, 2, 3, 4, and Mr. Han picked up there were cigarettes and lighters on the table in front of him, and he told Lu Ligan, "Let's go outside to smoke." The two of them went outside. The corridor outside was covered with dark blue reflective glass up and down, left and right. Several mommies, leading the girls from their respective teams, walked in the corridor, walking from this box to that box, holding hands. Drunk customers are walking around in the KTV. Most of them come after the meal, are already half drunk, and continue to get drunk here. The corridor is very long, and the doors of the private rooms on both sides open and close. Every time it is opened, there is loud music rolling out of the door. When it is not opened, there are also high and low sounds. This place was really not suitable for two people to stand and chat. They walked along the corridor to the end of the corridor, turned a corner, and continued walking until they reached the end. There was a public restroom with a wash basin installed outside the door. Because every private room has a restroom, not many people come here to use the restroom. Basically, there are only ladies who have not yet gone to work. This place was relatively quiet. The two of them were standing here, taking out their cigarettes and lighting them, chatting while smoking. Just as they stopped, a girl came out of the women's bathroom and stood in front of the sink to wash her hands. Lu Ligan took a look. The girl was pretty. He put his hand on her shoulder and tapped her twice with his fingers. The girl did not turn around, but raised her head, looked at Lu Ligan in the mirror in front of the washstand and asked, "What are you doing? Did you go to work?" The girl shook her head. "You go to box 301," Lu Ligan said. The girl smiled sweetly, "Okay, brother." Mr. Han wondered, "Don't we already have them all in the box?" Lu Ligan said, "It's not like there are too many girls." "Why, do you think there are too many girls?" Mr. Han smiled. The girl washed her hands, waved goodbye to them, and went to 301. Lu Ligan told Mr. Han that it was still about the land price. "I know." Mr. Han smiled, took a puff of cigarette, spit it out, and then asked, "Have you noticed that the floor area ratio of this auction is low?" Lu Ligan nodded and said, "I found out, they are all within the range of floor area ratio stipulated by the state. For example, the land in Qianzhong New City, for high-rise buildings with more than 19 floors, the regulations are between 2.4 and 4.5. They set a minimum value of 3.2. For the land in Wushan, for high-rise buildings below the 18th floor, the regulations are 1.8 to 2.5. They set a minimum value of 1.8. When Lu Ligan was talking, Mr. Han kept nodding his head, indicating that he was right. "Why is this happening?" Lu Ligan asked. "What I propose is to leave some space for the buyer, do you understand?" Mr. Han asked. Lu Ligan shook his head and said, "I don't understand. What does this matter have to do with us? It's not our decision." Mr. Han smiled and shook his head, "You didn't decide it, so you can't adjust it?" Mr. Lu, are in Hangzhou and don't even have the energy to adjust the floor area ratio of a project. Lu Ligan suddenly realized it, laughed loudly, nodded repeatedly and said, "Hi, hi, it is really high, I understand." The two of them wanted to say something, but another girl came over and wanted to use the bathroom. The two of them stayed silent and smoked. Lu Ligan saw that this girl was also good looking and cursed. "What's going on, our mommy? All the girls here are so beautiful. Why do I feel like the ugliest ones are all sent to our box?" When the girl heard this, she couldn't help laughing. Lu Ligan asked, "Beauty, are you at work?" The girl said that I had just arrived and hadn't gotten on yet. After using the bathroom, go to 301, Lu Ligan told her. Okay, the girl quickly opened the door and entered the bathroom. Lu Ligan said, "This place is nice. You can stand here, smoke and chat, and you can also do a beauty pageant." Mr. Han smiled and said, "If you stand for an hour, will you fill up the box?" "Isn't that very enjoyable?" Lu Ligan also smiled. "There are beautiful girls crowding you everywhere, so don't make the scene too beautiful." Mr. Han said with a smile, "It won't be beautiful if you squeeze out the smelly sweat." The two continued the previous topic. Mr. Han said that we can't do this too much. When everyone wakes up and regulates it, we won't be able to do this. But this time, you can take advantage of it. Do you understand? This is me. The reason why I want you to get more land this time is that when everything is just beginning and everyone is inexperienced, you can do it if you are generous." Lu Ligan said, "I understand, thank you Mr. Han. This adjustment of floor area ratio seems to be a small matter. Lu Ligan has done it before. In fact, the relationship is too big. As for the West Lake Throne land, it will be adjusted from the current 1.8 to the upper limit of the allowable range of 2.5. Then we can build 10,000 square meters more houses, and the current land price of 10,000 square meters can be directly reduced to more than 7,000 square meters. And the land in Jianzhong New City can be purchased for an additional 150,000 square meters at once, and the land price is extremely cheap. This is why I suggest that the land price be based on the floor area. There is a floor area ratio that can be used to make a fuss. Do you understand?" Mr. Han asked. "I understand, thank you Mr. Han." Lu Ligan nodded. "I just told Mr. Han that he would not bring this up for no reason." The girl came out of the bathroom and stood there washing her hands. The two of them were silent again, smoking cigarettes and watching her wash her hands. The girl raised her head and smiled at them in the mirror. She felt a little embarrassed and her face turned slightly red. After washing his hands, he turned around and asked Lu Ligan, "Brother, it's 301, right?" Lu Ligan said, "Yes, you go ahead." After the girl left, Lu Ligan asked Mr. Han if the floor area ratio was too high, would the quality of the community decline? "No, aren't you doing a good job in landscaping? These can all be made up for. For example, if the trees in your community are big enough, they won't give people a feeling of humiliation. Like the plot of land in Wushan, behind it is Wushan, you can borrow the scenery. The land itself is sloping. You can raise the foundation. It is not above the 4th floor. You can see the West Lake from the 2nd floor or even the 1st floor. The regulations only allow you to build 12 floors, and there is no requirement for an altitude to be plus or minus 0 for your building. Also, the terrain of the community is undulating, so the passages become longer. This will give people the illusion that the community is very large. Big, these are all things that can be thought of." Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Oh, Mr. Han, why don't you and Wenwen move to Hangzhou and become my consultants?" "No, I have adapted to the climate in Haikan. I can't stand the hot and cold weather in Hangzhou." Mr. Han refused. "Tomorrow, shall I take you to the airport?" Lu Ligan asked. "No, you don't have to come over tomorrow. When I get up, Xiao Zhong will pick me up. I will also meet with Lu Chengcheng and your secretary and mayor in the morning. We will have dinner together at noon. After dinner, Xiao Zhong will take me to the airport. Lu Ligan said okay, then I won't disturb you tomorrow. The two of them finished smoking another cigarette, and Mr. Han said, let's go, there are so many beauties waiting for us. At around 10 o'clock in the morning the next day, Lu Ligan drove alone to Xinqiao Hotel, walked to the front desk, and asked the waiter, had Mr. Han from 1802 checked out? No, sir. Lu Ligan put his bag on the counter, took out a sealed envelope from it, handed it to the waiter, and said to her, please help me give this to Mr. Han in 1802. Okay, sir, are you in a hurry? The waiter asked. Don't worry, I'll give it to him when he checks out, Lu Ligan said. After lunch with Lu Chengcheng and the others, Xiao Zhong accompanied Mr. Han to check out. The waiter took out an envelope and said to him, Mr. Han, here is a letter from you. Mr. Han took it and looked at it. There was nothing written on the surface of the envelope. Mr. Han pinched it gently with his fingers and put the envelope into his bag calmly. After arriving at the airport, he passed the security check and sat down on the sofa in the first-class VIP room. Mr. Han took out the envelope from his bag and tore open the seal. There was only a bank card in the envelope and nothing else. Mr. Han turned the card over and saw a small note on the reverse side with a set of numbers written on it. Mr. Han knew that this was the password for the card. Mr. Han put the card into his wallet, stood up, took 2 steps, and threw the empty envelope into the trash can. When he sat back on the sofa, Mr. Han couldn't help but laugh. This is why he likes to deal with Lu Ligan. When the two of them are together, they never mention money, but every time he does something for Lu Ligan, he will always get something in return. Lu Ligan would never give it in person. After receiving it, he didn't need to call Lu Ligan to tell him that he had received it, or to say something thank you. When they meet again, the two people will not mention this matter, as if they have forgotten it. This way of getting along and cooperating makes Mr. Han feel very comfortable. And you can rest assured that the numbers in today's card will definitely meet or even exceed Mr. Han's expectations. Lu Ligan is such a discerning person, Mr. Han thinks. Thank you to the wooden man, the air is not human, Qian Dad, and book friend 1604031635313329 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1022. This auction, just as Zhang Chen said, further established Lu Ligan's position as the top spot in the Hangzhou real estate company. The media's extensive reports on this auction made people who knew about Splendid Land even more. This deepened the impression of Splendid Land. People who didn't know Splendid Land now also knew about Splendid Land. The land price of 10,000 square meters has also brought the beautiful land of Zhejiang into the eyes of people across the country. In addition, the internet suddenly took a big leap in the year of 1998. Many people became familiar with internet cafes and the internet. Modems were installed on the telephone lines of many units and families. The beeping sound of the modem it has become a kind of voice that makes people feel more friendly. What's more, Lu Ligan and Tan Shahen are topical in their own right, especially Tan Shahen. Whether it is on the camera, the screen, or the computer screen, the picture is really beautiful. She quickly became one of the most beautiful in the country. The title of female entrepreneur. Many real estate developers in China evolved from contractors, and most people still have the impression of real estate developers as contractors. A construction company from Dongyang, Zhejiang province, entered Hangzhou for a while. Because they urinated and dumped domestic garbage everywhere at the construction site near the West Lake, which seriously damaged the environment, they were collectively kicked out of Hangzhou. The news media in Hangzhou at that time had widely reported that this was another attack on a certain person in a certain place after Hangzhou burned Wenzhou fake leather shoes in Woolen Square and cleared Wenzhou leather shoes collectively from all department stores in Hangzhou. An industry carries out collective punishment. Just like Wenzhou leather shoes returned to Hangzhou, led by brands such as Aakang, Kangnei, and Red Dragonfly, they used novel styles, excellent workmanship, and quality to regain the trust of Hangzhou people in Wenzhou leather shoes. Construction companies in Dongyang, back in Hangzhou, it has become a company with the most standardized and tidy on-site management. Not only did they regain a foothold, but several large construction companies were no longer limited to building houses. They also used land to build houses and sell them, becoming real estate developers. In the real estate industry, there were originally few female general managers. People like Tan Shahan quickly became a beautiful sight. The media loves to use such bad words. Tan Shahan can finally breathe a sigh of relief. The reason why she could breathe a sigh of relief was that just 1 week after the auction, the housing prices around the West Lake Throne were rising every day. Now they have doubled to 8 or 9,000 square meters. Although it's still far from the 20,000 that Lu Ligan said, but isn't 20,000 waiting for them to create? What's more important is that Lu Ligan had the cleverness to come up with the idea of adjusting the floor area ratio. Lu Ligan went out in person, and every department was very considerate. Everyone was already an old acquaintance, and everyone knew that Lu Ligan and Lu Changcheng had an unusual relationship. This time Lu Ligan fired the auction again. It was very popular and a great success, making all the departments involved feel very proud. Although Lu Changcheng has never eaten a meal from Lu Ligan until now, and there is no collusion of interests between them. Lu Ligan only admires Lu Changcheng. But Lu Ligan was Lu Ligan's guest, and he also served as the deputy director of the Gentian River Project headquarters office. All of these objectively created conditions for Lu Ligan, and Lu Ligan is now the executive deputy of Hangcheng. The mayor is said to be a strong candidate for mayor, and Lu Ligan follows him, giving him a halo. After Lu Ligan adjusted the floor area ratios of several projects at once, the floor price of West Lake Throne dropped from 10,000 to more than 7,000. Tan Shahan felt that this way, there would be no loss, and the rest would be it's just a matter of how much money you make. This also puzzled Tan Shahan. How could something that seemed impossible, a terrible thing, turn around and become possible and not terrible at all? Is it because their company's fortune is good, or is it? This real estate is so crazy. If someone had told her a week earlier that Wu Shan's house would cost 8 or 9,000, she would never have believed it. Ying Ying came back and told her that not only the house in Wushan, but also the houses around all the plots they had auctioned had increased in price. Even Tianfu Garden had increased by 200 to 300. It seemed that this land auction was not only popular. It was the venue, and the photos of the Hangzhou real estate market outside the venue were also taken. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen took this step in the right direction again. Tan Shahan feels that she must learn to look further and broaden her horizons when looking at problems in the future. One of the biggest advantages of the land auctioned from the Land Acquisition and Storage Center is that it is all clean land. The 5 connections and 1 leveling have been completed, and the municipal supporting facilities are also in place. Whether it is the power grid or the pipe network, it can be used as long as it is connected. After they get the land, they can enter the field immediately. This is really easy, and they will not encounter almost any mess. Unlike in City in the Sky, Song Chunming had to deal with a lot of troublesome things every day. He not only had to deal with villagers whose land had been expropriated, but also with villagers whose land had not been expropriated, and even with villagers from neighboring villages who came to make trouble, saying that the road was damaged and the water source was blocked. Fortunately, someone like Song Chunming was there, otherwise Lu Ligan and Tan Shahan would have to run there every day. That is to say, starting from the time when land was collected and stored by the Land Collection and Storage Center, They also collected and stored all the conflicts. From then on, the various contradictions in land acquisition and demolition became the problem between the local government and the farmers whose land was expropriated, and the people who were demolished. The conflicts among citizens have nothing to do with developers. When the government takes action, developers are not as flexible and easy to bargain with. They will not care about your job placement or your escape. They have the simplest approach, which is to urbanize and transform cities within cities. In Zonken and the rural areas on the outskirts of the city, villages were demolished and converted into residential buildings, and each village became a neighborhood committee. After becoming a resident, the government does not need to arrange jobs. Otherwise, where will the local government find so many jobs? State-owned enterprises are still diverting laid-off workers. How can you still fill them with people? That is to say, after the emergence of the Land Acquisition and Storage Center, a word began to appear intensively, that is, forced demolition. Developers are not capable of forced demolition, only local governments can. Tan Shahen walked into Lu Ligan's office. With 8 pieces of land in hand, they had to consider how to arrange it. Tan Shahen preferred to put the projects in Qianzhong New City and Wushan later, and develop the projects near Jingxiu Home and Zayawai first. These two can bring back money quickly. Although the funds in their accounts are still abundant after paying the land transfer fee, the sooner they can withdraw the funds, the better. Maybe the second land auction will be held soon. We can't be absent, right? Lu Ligan agreed that funds should be withdrawn quickly, but he preferred to start 8 projects at the same time. We have to move quickly, Lu Ligan said. What action should be done quickly? Tan Shahen asked. We need to step up construction and speed up sales. Tan Shahen was surprised. Why? What news have you heard? No, but now everyone is focusing on real estate, and there will definitely be intensive measures and policies. It used to be easy to get land, but now it is no longer possible. Selling houses is very casual now, but I believe that at all levels the government will soon pay attention to house sales and regulate this area. You know, government departments are in charge of their own land. The Land Acquisition and Storage Center is managed by the Land Management Bureau. The Housing Management Bureau under the Construction Bureau is managed by the Housing Management Bureau under the Construction Bureau. The land is under management, but the house sale is not yet done. Should we hurry up and take control? If the threshold for selling a house is high, we will be very passive, so I say hurry up. Now, if you can sell it as soon as possible. With more funds, you can get more land. Tan Shahen has no objection to the other 6 projects. With the experience of the Mishaihe project, they do not lack the ability to carry out many projects at the same time. But Qianzhong New City has obviously not yet taken off. If you enter now, will you become a martyr? Although the housing prices in the surrounding areas of the West Lake Throne project are rising, they have not yet reached our psychological goals, so we might as well let it go first, Tan Shahen said. If everyone doesn't enter, then Qianzhong New City will never take shape. The scale of our project is large, and it will have a stimulating effect on the surrounding areas. Moreover, if we enter now, what effect will it have? If our project construction has already started and bringing some vitality, there will push up the land prices in Qianzhong New City. There is so much vacant land in Qianzhong New City. In the second auction, there will definitely be more land. If the auction of this land can push up the price again and again, it will also be beneficial to us. When our project is completed, -0, housing prices there will also rise. The most important thing is that by that time, the new city government building will have been built. The city government building has been built, but the supporting facilities are still not up to date. We don't need to worry about this at all. Lu Ligan said, and Tan Shahen nodded. She felt that what Lu Ligan said made sense, and that was why he saw further than herself. What about the throne of West Lake? Tan Shahen asked. Throne of Westlake is the focus of everyone's attention now. If we don't start construction for too long, we will be like a star who has not shown up for a long time. He will be out of date. When he appears again, everyone will have forgotten about him. Throne of Westlake will also have this possibility. So we have to constantly find hotspots for it, so that Su Wenhui always has something to write about. How can he write on your wasteland? In this way, we can ensure its popularity. We will work slowly and make it into a high-quality product. As for after it is completed, in case the price is not as high as we expected. Lu Ligan and Tan Shahan said what Mr. Han said about renting for sale. Tan Shahan agreed. She said okay, then you have to call Jason and Jacques. Thank you Cup Guy API, Ghost Tribe, Book Friends 20190412154836208, Love Purple, Hydrogen Oxide Disinfection Knowledge Bureau, 1382-308-2968, Shi Fangxian, Tianying 1978, Tiger, Ji Unseong 11, Why Can't I Change My Name? The Monthly Pass for Yuengzi, May, Wooden Man, and a Bluefish in the Book. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1023. Ying Ying walked into Lu Ligan's office with a man and a woman. The two people were wearing bank uniforms. Ying Ying introduced that they were from Hubei branch of China Construction Bank. The man's surname was Wang and he was the head of the credit section. The woman's surname was Wang. His surname is Xiao, and he is a loan officer. Tan Shahan asked them to sit on the sofa. She and Lu Ligan also walked over and everyone sat down. Section Chief Wang, Lu Ligan, and Tan Shahan said that they came this time to contact the housing mortgage loan business. Their China Construction Bank was preparing to launch housing mortgage loans. The provincial branch decided to make their Hubei branch the first branch in Hangzhou and even the whole city. Pilot outlets across Zhejiang. Your splendid land is the largest real estate company in Hangzhou. We also learned that your projects have actually been cooperating with companies under Shenzhen Development Bank, and you are involved in mortgage loans. With this experience, we are here this time. I just hope to cooperate with you on housing mortgage loans. Tan Shahan quickly said, this is a good thing, and of course we hope to cooperate with you. Lu Ligan sat aside silently, but he was cursing in his heart, damn you, where were you when we needed you most? Now that the real estate industry is getting better, they all came running over. Section Chief Wang left them a complete set of housing mortgage loan information and agreed with them that when they have a project ready to be launched, both parties can sign an agreement and then start specific business cooperation. After Tan Shahan and Ying Ying sent Section Chief Wang and Xiao Xiao away, they went upstairs and walked back to Lu Ligan's office. As soon as they entered, Lu Ligan scolded, you two, you are so quick to become traitors. Tan Shahan and Ying Ying were stunned for a moment, and then they remembered that Lu Ligan was scolding them for betraying Mr. Chiao of Shenzhen Angzhen Trust. In the past, although Mr. Chiao and his company were the only ones who could provide mortgage loans for their projects, every time they signed an agreement with Mr. Chiao and his company, there would still be an exclusive clause, that is, indicating that Mr. Chiao and his company were the only financial institution designated by this project that can provide mortgage loan business. Ying Ying giggled, pointed to the door and said, this is China Construction Bank. What's wrong with CCB? Lu Ligan scolded, where were they when we needed them? Now they've come out and want to cooperate. Don't be angry, boss, Ying Ying said, it wasn't that other people didn't do it before, it was other banks that didn't have this business at all. They wanted to do it but didn't know how to do it. The head office didn't even have regulations. A small branch below. Can you create your own business? In fact, when people see Mr. Chiao and others doing the housing mortgage business, they are making a lot of money and taking risks, and they are very jealous. That's right. Now when people talk about launching a pilot project, they first think of our company and come here. The head of the credit section personally comes to the door. Is that sincerity enough? Tan Shahen said from the side. Lu Ligan scolded, I don't think Section Chief Wang is a handsome guy. Why are you talking to him like this? I understand, boss, do you think Xiao Xiao is not pretty enough? I'll ask them to send a more beautiful one, Ying Ying said. Tan Shahen laughed. Lu Ligan was also amused. He cursed, I just feel that this is a betrayal of Mr. Chiao. I can't do it. Tan Shahen said, I understand your idea, but to be honest, this mortgage loan is not a loan from our company, but a loan from the person who bought the house. Whether they want to choose China Construction Bank or Mr. Chiao and others, I think this right should be given, and give it back to the person who bought the house. Yes, Ying Ying said, in this case, China Construction Bank, I think, no matter what, they will not stop mortgage loans or limit the amount due to lack of funds like Mr. Chiao and others. Besides, we don't. If we cooperate with them, other companies will also cooperate with them. If other companies can provide mortgage loans from CCB, we cannot. Then we will lose our competitive advantage. Tan Shahen followed up what Ying Ying said, this CCB has many branches after all. Even if home buyers have to repay every month, it is also convenient. The business is done by one branch. I asked about the repayment. After passing it, you can return it at all branches. There are many China construction banks in Hangzhou. As for Mr. Chiao and others, they can only go to Shenzhen Development Bank to return it. That's right, Shenzhen Development Bank has only one outlet. No matter how far away you live, you have to go to Qingchun Road, Ying Ying said. Okay, you two, don't start this round of fighting. I'll contact Mr. Chiao first and see what he says, Lu Ligan said. If Mr. Chiao insists that they still have to do this business exclusively, then I won't. Even if you betray him, don't forget that mortgage loans are not the only business we have at Mr. Chiao's place. As Lu Ligan spoke, he dialed Mr. Chiao's number. Tan Shahen reached out and pressed the hands-free button on the phone. The phone call ended. Lu Ligan and Mr. Chiao told Mr. Chiao that CCB had come to contact him for mortgage loans. Mr. Chiao sighed and said, I know that not only CCB, but also China Construction Bank and China Communications Construction Bank will follow up on this business. We Shenzhen Development Bank and other joint stock banks will also follow suit. This is actually promoted by the People's Bank of China. Then what should you do? Lu Ligan asked. Let's look for another way out. Originally we were just playing a side game and were a guerrilla force. If the regular army starts to do it and takes over this business, we will definitely not be allowed to touch the motley crew like us. Ah, how could this happen? What about this piece that has already been done? Lu Ligan asked. It doesn't matter. The whole thing will definitely be transferred to Shenzhen Fa. Mr. Lu, thank you, Mr. Chiao said. Thank me? Lu Ligan was confused. Thank me for what? When you call me, you must remember our agreement. It's okay, Mr. Lu. You can continue to contact them. I will go to Hangzhou in a few days. We will discuss it then. Our other business cooperation cannot be helped. An organization like ours is also a financial institution, but it is raised by our stepmother. Once a piece of business is cooked, and others bring the whole pot, we have to find other food. Mr. Chiao sounded upset. After chatting with Lu Ligan for a few more words, he hung up the phone. This is understandable. The mortgage loan business has always been the biggest part of Mr. Chiao and the others. Not only he and Meng, they are working on many projects in Pingna, Shenzhen, and across the country. Lu Ligan felt sad when he thought about Mr. Chiao's lament. Indeed, An organization like theirs is a financial institution, but unlike banks, they have no right to absorb savings. They can only make full use of their own money. The world is looking for it, and all businesses must be found and created by oneself. It is hard to find money at the top, and it is also hard for the bottom to find business. But once a piece of business becomes big, it seems to be very profitable. When regular banks want to get in, they don't need much. As soon as the People's Bank of China notifies them, they must stop immediately and hand over the business obediently, saying that they are stepmothers. It's true that it's raised. Tan Shahen and Ying Ying also heard the loneliness on Mr. Chiao's phone. After hanging up the phone, the two of them sat there without saying anything. Lu Ligan looked up at them and said to them, "Okay, that's the general trend. No one can do anything about it, just continue to contact that section chief Wang." Ying Ying nodded, said good, and walked out. Tan Shahen was flipping through the information left by section chief Wang and the others, flipping through it and cursing, "It's so cruel." "What's wrong?" Lu Ligan asked. "You are right, if there is a way, I don't want to cooperate with them," Tan Shahen said. "Do you know what is written here?" "What?" "For all mortgage loans, developers must serve as guarantee units. This is not only the business of the people who buy the houses, but also our business," Tan Shahen said. "People who buy the houses have already mortgaged their houses to them. This is not enough, you have to pull us back. We have never had this in our cooperation with Mr. Chiao, right?" Lu Ligan suddenly remembered what Zheng Wei had said to him before. He said, "Isn't that what banks are like? They want to make money, but it's best not to bear the risks at all, and let others bear them for them. When I say it, it's sanctimonious. Our bank is state-owned, and this is to prevent the loss of state-owned assets. Drainage, you guys have such a high level of consciousness, how come you have so many bad debts? Aren't those bad debts all caused by you?" No, this definitely won't work," Tan Shahen said. "I want to call and ask." "No need to ask, this cannot be changed. Other banks will definitely ask for this when they start doing this business. This template has been approved by the People's Bank of China. What's the use of calling you? In this case, if all mortgage accounts stop paying, the bank will directly debit our account and give the house to us. They will not even lose a penny in interest. We will bear all the responsibilities. Aren't we going to be killed by them? If they didn't do it right, they went around in a circle, all the money was taken away, the house came back, and we sold it for nothing." When Tan Shahen said this, Lu Ligan also felt that it was a big deal. "Isn't this so humming funny? I didn't use your bank for a penny, but I was working for your bank instead." Tan Shahen picked up the phone on the table and called Section Chief Wang. The two talked on the phone for more than 10 minutes. After putting down the phone, Tan Shahen breathed a sigh of relief. She told Lu Ligan that fortunately, it was not what we understood. "What's that like?" "The process is like this. If a home buyer defaults or cuts off their payment, they will not pursue us directly, but will sue the home buyer. Of course, when suing, because we are the guarantee unit, we will also be sued. But the order of disposal is that after the house is auctioned, their bank's portion will be deducted from the auction proceeds instead of being transferred from our account. Because home buyers have a down payment when they buy a house, the auction amount will be greater than what they owe the bank, and we don't actually need to bear the liability for compensation." Tan Shahen said. Lu Lepole nodded, but he immediately thought of it and said, "There are still risks. The risks are, first, banks compete with each other and mess around, and everyone lowers the down payment ratio lower and lower. Second, house prices plummet. If the down payment is 20%, the house price will fall. If it's 40 to 50%, the auction money will definitely not be enough to pay off the bank's debt. The bank will still ask us for the shortfall, right? We are the unlucky ones. Tan Shahen said yes, this is an overlord clause. Lu Ligan smiled bitterly and said, there is no way. If all banks are like this, even if they have overbearing clauses, we will have to swallow them. We can't say that we will stop doing mortgage loan business because of this. Thank you, Tin Soldier, for reading the book every day and ranking third from top to bottom for the reward. Thank you Daypen, Brokeback Mountain, Baby Tin Soldier, reading books every day, ranked third from top to bottom, on the shore 131, Not Impossible World's monthly ticket. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy life. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1024. When Zhang Chen and his friends were young, they were very familiar with the saying, the route is an outline, and the outline is the outline. He felt that real estate really seemed to follow this line. Once real estate moved, other industries also began to move. Even a humble citizen like him, who had not participated in the formulation of any policy, could still feel that China's economy was really getting better. This feeling is also very real. The business of all the specialty stores from south to north has improved. More and more people are buying clothes. The parking lot of the dynamic zone below has also begun to become busy. No business owners are complaining anymore. What kind of business is difficult to do? When everyone's business is doing well, but only one or two of your businesses are not doing well, you have no right or the embarrassment to complain that business is difficult. You can only lament that you have no ability or are unlucky. Just blame everything on luck. Lu Ligan and his company have moved to Kiashi Academy. Lu Ligan and Tan Shahen have also moved upstairs to the dynamic zone. After moving upstairs to the dynamic zone, Lu Ligan and Tan Shahen have less time to eat and more time to eat. It's the four of them eating together, or a large group of people eating together. Lu Ligan likes to hang out with friends. Sometimes, the four of them would go to Zhang Chen's parents' house to have dinner. On a more daily basis, like today, Lu Ligan and Tan Shahen got off work. There was a vegetable market next to their company. They went to buy some crabs and seafood, as well as braised food, which are very simple dishes to cook and prepare. They came back. Cooked in Tan Shahen's kitchen, Xiao Zhao asked the canteen below to bring a few dishes, so that there was one table, and they were placed on the conference table in Zhang Chen's office to eat. There's plenty of space here. Eating this way is more casual and comfortable than going to a hotel. When there are many people, I will go to the hotel because I feel too hot and have trouble cleaning up. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan were drinking, and Tan Shahen and Xiao Zhao were drinking coconut juice. The four of them drank and chatted like this. Sometimes Tan Shahen would fall into a trance, and her thoughts would wander to many years ago, when Xiao Zhao seemed to be Jin Lily. In the troupe at that time, the four of them often worked together like this. No, there are even those who work for free. When I was in the troupe, it was Su Ji and me and Feng Logui, here it was Ji Yiling, and sometimes Lu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, and Lu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty. When not going to other places or cake shops, they would often hang out from the arena next door. Lao Tan is now with Huo and his family of 3 every day. He looks like a grandfather, and he does grandfather's things every day. The war on the map with Lu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, started and ended without knowing when. Zhang Chen told Lu Ligan his feelings about the current economy. Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Don't you think you should just thank us real estate developers? We have pulled up the entire economy. Hurry up, Zhang Chen, come and give flowers to your grandfather." I'll lay a wreath, do you want it?" Zhang Chen scolded. "I want it, but you have to dedicate a cemetery first," Lu Ligan said. "Hey, you two, the more you talk, the more you look like you," Xiao Zhao scolded. "That's right, I didn't cover up my words," Tan Shahen said. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan laughed. Zhang Chen said, "What about that? You have to eat like you are having a meeting. Are you too addicted to holding meetings now? Xiao Zhao and Tan Shahen laughed wildly. Zhang Chen said, I just can't figure out the logic here. Logically speaking, there are so many people buying houses, and their money has been exploited by your real estate developers. Isn't it that everyone has less money, and they should be even less able to afford clothes? You only wanted to be exploited by us, but didn't expect to be fattened by us, Tan Shahen said. If you don't talk about anything else, the people in our sales department below are so rich now. How much of their half-acre of land is yours, customers? How many items did you buy in a year before? How many items do you buy every month now? Where are there many other people? Those who supply us with materials are all rich. What about their families, the workers below, and the workers' families? They just don't buy your clothes and will buy other things. Then if people who sell other things have money, they may become your customers. Including those young girls who do business in the bank. If they get a lot of bonuses, they will be your customers, right? I have also thought about this. The economy is a big cycle. If it is in a positive cycle, it will be good for you. Hello everyone, if the cycle is reversed, don't say that your clothes are not bought, even our house is not bought, no one can escape. Yes, Tan Shahen, what you said is clearer than what economists say. It is easy to understand and is especially suitable for uneducated people like us, Zhang Chen said with a smile. Tan Shahen pointed at Zhang Chen, you are mocking me again, Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen quickly said, don't dare, I'm telling the truth. Didn't you get the diploma for the self-study exam? You are now a junior college student, and you are really the most educated among the four of us. Tan Shahen said, Xiao Zhao is about to pass. He will be able to pass the exam next year. I still have 6 doors, Xiao Zhao said with a bitter face. Then once today in the second half of the year and twice next year, even if you take 2 exams at one time, you will still get out, Tan Shahen said. You can take 2 exams. It's very easy. Haven't you passed all 4 exams? Xiao Zhao nodded. It's no use, Lu Lepol waved his hand. You guys, in front of me, are all childish. I am now working in the office of the president of Zhejiang University. If one day the fire breaks out, I will call Si Duxiu come in and scold me. Fake, you can call me in tomorrow and scold me, Tan Shahen scolded. By the way, how do you feel about your new company now? Zhang Chen asked. It's great, it's quiet in the midst of the hustle and bustle, Lu Ligan said. At night, the place feels like a Chinese chat room. A vixen will pop out of any corner that's too cold. I'm going to die. Will you let me go to work at night? Tan Shahen cursed. What are you afraid of, Tan Shahen? You are a white snake, Zhang Chen said. Tan Shahen and Lu Ligan laughed. Xiao Zhao looked at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said, White snake, Tan Shahen is most famous for playing the white snake. Tan Shahen sighed and said, now that I think about it, how innocent we were when we were in the troupe. I'm very naive now, Lu Ligan said. You only have one order left now. It's simply gone long ago, Zhang Chen said, while Tan Shahen and Xiao Zhao laughed wildly again. Someone knocked on the door, and Tan Shahen shouted, guess, Ji Ling is still brother Lu. It must be Ji Ling who knocked so gently, Lu Ligan said. Xiao Zhao walked over, opened the door, and shouted. Standing outside the door was not Ji Ling, nor Lu Bang, the great ancestor of the Han dynasty, but Chu Tianlin and Xiaoan. Chu Tianlin said with a smile, I went to Lao Ni's place earlier and saw you guys eating, so I brought Xiaoan over to share the meal. Zhang Chen smiled and said, we often eat like this, you can all come over and enjoy it. We don't know, Chu Tianlin said. Lu Ligan looked back at the splendid Jiangnan on the other side of the canal and asked strangely, old Ni's office can see here, but yours can't. Chu Tianlin shook his head, I'm so tall, I can see the roof here. While they were talking, Xiao Zhao had already brought bowls, chopsticks, and cups. Chu Tianlin also drank coconut juice. Lu Ligan looked at Xiaoan and said, "Why are you pretending to be polite when you drink? Just drink, no one is afraid of whom." Xiaoan shouted, and Zhang Chen quickly poured him wine. Xiaoan took a sip, frowned and shouted, "Oh my god, what is this? Is it so spicy? Shoot and burn. After you finish drinking, you will be pulled out and shot," Lu Ligan said with a smile. Xiaoan took the wine bottle and looked at it. It said 1,000 cups less on the bottle, but there was no registered trademark sign. This made her even more suspicious. Xiaoan said, "Is this a fake bar? It tastes so bad." "Nonsense, why does it taste so bad? Why do I feel like mutai when I drink it?" Lu Ligan said, "Let me tell you, this is a world-famous wine produced by Zhang Shen. You, Zhang Chen and Uncle Zhang, don't know if you drank it or not a few bathtubs. No matter how much you drink, it's fake wine. Be careful and don't drink it randomly," Xiaoan said. No, it's just that I can't drink other wines. We can still drink it if it's genuine or fake. We grew up watching it." Zhang Chen also felt that this couldn't be fake wine. Said the side. "How much does a bottle cost?" Xiaoan asked. 3 yuan, Lu Ligan said. No, I don't want to drink it. This is blended with alcohol. Nowadays, many wineries have their products printed there. I've dealt with wineries a lot, so I know a little bit about this," Xiaoan shouted. The cup in front of him was pushed away. "Nonsense, this wine used to cost 1 yuan, but now it costs 3 yuan. It has tripled. How could it be fake?" Lu Ligan said. "That's because what you have been drinking is alcohol mixed with water. There has been no change." "Of course there has been no change. How much water was mixed with a pound of alcohol in the past and how much is mixed now? How can there be a change?" Xiaoan scolded. "Think about it, now how much does a pound of rice cost, and it has 65 degrees. It takes 3 pounds of rice to make 1 pound of 65-degree liquor. Brother, rice is 70 cents per pound, and this wine is sold to you for 3 yuan. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan were stunned. Tan Shahen, Xiao Zhao, and Chu Tianlin laughed. Tan Shahen cursed. "These two lunatics, every time the wine is almost finished, they look everywhere, and all they find is alcohol." Chu Tianlin also smiled and said, 3 yuan for a bottle of wine, it's not a good thing after thinking about it. Why do you two big bosses abuse yourself so much?" Xiao Zhao's stomach almost hurt from laughing. She said to Chu Tianlin, "Sister, they are still serious, saying that there are traces of time and they can remind themselves not to forget their roots. Don't forget the habit of drinking fake wine," Xiaoan said. Zhang Chen smiled awkwardly, and Lu Ligan said, "It's okay, just pretend that I've been cleaning and disinfecting my stomach with alcohol for so many years." Having said that, when the two of them looked at the wine, they felt like they couldn't drink it. Xiao Zhao walked away with a smile and came back with a bottle of Wulianjai for them. "Thank you, Lu. Book friends 201806210933222406. Book friends 2018111015045378 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1025. They ate until about 8 o'clock. The four women were tidying up in the office. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan walked through the small door and went to the rooftop garden in the dynamic zone next door. The lights in the center of Hangzhou next door are as bright as day. The lower 2 floors of the entire huge basement have been poured, and the top floor is now being poured. There are many reinforced steel columns. This long strip close to the dynamic zone has been the first to emerge from the ground. The Hangcheng Post and Telecommunications Office building, like a bamboo shoot, broke through the tangle of a large area of reinforced concrete and rose higher than the M zone. It reached the 7th or 8th floor. According to the agreement, it will be capped at the end of the year. The other two, an office building, is also level with the dynamic zone. The commercial and residential buildings in these two buildings have already turned into money and entered Lou Ligon's pocket. The two stood there and watched for a while, finishing a cigarette. Lou Ligon felt that the construction site was no longer as beautiful as before. First, the three office buildings blocked their view. Now they could only see the dilapidated construction site behind them through their gaps. Second, when Lou Ligon knew, as long as with Tan Shahan here, it is impossible for my office to be on the top floor of the center of Hangzhou. Looking here again, I always feel a little disappointed. He felt that my Hangzhou and my Westlake were moving away from him, almost becoming a memory. They walked to the basketball court and watched people playing basketball for a while. After the factory got busy, they only appeared here on weekends. Basically, they were invited to compete with others. At other times, they could only in the Sanbeo factory. I used my spare time after eating to do some exercise to keep my hands from getting raw. For Liangfen and others, hobbies can only be hobbies and cannot affect their work and life. Zhang Chen and Lou Ligon walked to the badminton hall next door. As soon as they walked in, they were immediately attracted by the scene inside. They saw 6 fields with young athletes training. The outer 2 fields, a girl is training 7 or 8 little girls. The other 4 courts are training grounds for boys. There are 2 little boys in 3 of them, fighting each other. On the court in the corner, Zhang Chen and the others saw that the owner of this badminton club is also the head coach Lu Jun, competing with a boy of 13 or 14 years old. There were many young players standing by the court, watching, and they kept cheering. Of course, these cheers were all for that boy. Zhang Chen and Lou Ligon walked over and watched with interest. They were a little surprised when they saw Lu Jun and the boy scoring alternately. Although Lu Jun retired, after all, he was a member of the national team before he retired. And also won the World Championship. Although it is not an important competition championship like the Olympic Games and World Championships, it is already amazing. In such a sport with a broad mass base, the base of athletes is very large. If you can enter the national team, you are already 1 in a million. Those who can gain a foothold in the national team and achieve certain results are even fewer. This young man faced off against Lu Jun, and the score was not that ugly. This would certainly surprise Zhang Chen and Lou Ligon. Zhang Chen and Lou Ligon stood among a group of young players. They were very eye-catching. Lu Jun also saw them. He took advantage of the break in the game to raise the badminton racket in his hand as a greeting to Zhang Chen and the others, and then continue their game. Until the end of the game, Lu Jun walked to the net and said something to the boy, who kept nodding. The other team members also gathered around, listening to the explanations of Lu Jun and the young man, and chattering away. Lu Jun would stretch out the racket in his hand from time to time and slap the team members on the backs of their heads. This was I am reminding him that although they are not on the court, you also have the same problems. Remember it? After explaining, Lu Jun asked the team members to continue. He walked towards Zhang Chen and Lou Ligon. This little guy is quite powerful, Zhang Chen and Lu Jun said. Lu Jun looked back and said with a smile, it's a good seedling. The 3 people walked to the sidelines, where there was a row of benches. Lu Jun asked Zhang Chen and Lu Li to sit on the pole. He stood there, put the racket on the bench, and wiped the sweat off his left arm with his right hand. He shook his hand, wiped the sweat off his right arm with his left hand, waved his hand again, and then laughed self-deprecatingly. This guy even made me sweat. This is the highest compliment for that young man. Then, Lu Jun took the towel hanging on a row of coat hooks on the wall, wiped his face and body, hung the towel back, took a sweatshirt, put it on, then took a pair of sweatpants, and stood there, one foot was put on and the other was put on. He stamped his feet on the ground as usual and jumped up. Then he took a few steps closer and sat down next to Zhang Chen. "Boss Zhang, I'm sorry, I may have to return the arena to you in advance." After sitting down, Lu Jun suddenly said, "Thank you for taking care of me for so long and letting me use this place for free." Zhang Chen was surprised and asked, "What are you doing?" "I may go to Japan, to a club in Osaka, to be a player and coach," Lu Jun said. "Okay, then congratulations," Zhang Chen said. Lu Jun shook his head and said with a wry smile, "What's there to congratulate? It's just about making money. I can't help it. I've been dragging my girlfriend for many years and I haven't been able to get married. If I have such an opportunity, their family will definitely urge me to go." Zhang Chen understood, and from his words, he could also tell that Lu Jun himself was not willing to go, but there was no other way, he needed to make money. Zhejiang is a major badminton province. The Zhejiang men's team, represented by Li Mao, Wang Xiaoming, Wang Yueping, Huang Weikan, Cheng Jianhuang, and others, has won the national team championship twice. It can be said that there are Zhejiang players in every national team. Ding Kicking also participated in the 14th Thomas Cup and made great contributions to winning the championship for the Chinese team. Huang Zhanzhong, Chen Gang, like Lu Jun, have also been selected for the national team and won many world championships. The Zhejiang women's team, led by Li Lingwei, is even more powerful. Li Lingwei alone has won 13 world championships and is hailed as the queen of badminton by the international badminton community. In addition, Zhejiang is also a major sports province. Since China resumed its participation in the Olympic Games, athletes from Zhejiang have won gold medals in every Olympic Games. Even in 1988, the Chinese Legion defeated Seoul and only won 5 gold medals. The Prince of Gymnastics Li Ning performed abnormally and failed to achieve anything. Zhejiang's Lu Yun still won the vault gold medal, continuing Zhejiang's record of winning gold medals every time. A large number of sports talents is a good thing for a province, but it is not a good thing for retired athletes. The stars are bright. If Lu Jun is placed in some provinces, he will definitely become a dazzling star. When he comes to Zhejiang, his spectrum is obscured by brighter stars and becomes dim. After he retired, he was assigned to a primary school in Hangzhou as a physical education teacher. At that time, teachers' salaries were very low, and he had no other skills and could not make extra money. He could only recruit and teach young students here. To make some money, the fees charged for such training courses at that time were very low, and all he earned was small amounts of money. One person can't teach so many people, or there are many times when the school has something to do and he can't leave, so he has to ask the original senior brothers for help. For those female students, a female junior sister is specially hired to take care of them. All of these require expenses, so they don't make much money. Therefore, it is easy to understand that he needs to go to Japan to make money as a player and coach. "How much income can I make if I go to Japan?" Zhang Chen asked. "It's about 10,000 yuan a month," Lu Jun said. "Then what will happen to these children after you leave?" Zhang Chen asked again. Lu Jun shook his head and was silent for a while. He said, "There are 2, I would recommend to Chen Jinglun. For the others, it can only be decided by themselves. If you are still interested in continuing to learn, see if you can go to other clubs' gym practice." The 3 of them were silent. After a while, Lu Jun said, "In fact, sometimes when I look at these children, I feel quite ashamed and feel that I have delayed them." "How come?" "I see that you are always very serious about teaching," Zhang Chen said. "What's the use of serious teaching? Isn't training for all sports just for the competition? If you don't participate in the competition, how can you see the results of your training? These children's families are not well off, so their parents can spend money to let them learn this. It's not easy. Learning this won't help your studies, right? If they are allowed to participate in competitions again, they don't even have to think about it. They go to the competition, eat, live, and travel. They don't need money. If I have the ability, I will take them there. If I don't have the ability, I have to give up. The kid you just saw, if he goes to participate in the competition, he will definitely get a place. As someone who works in this industry, I know that no matter what kind of sports team it is, as long as one or two people perform well, it will be a stimulus to others. They will be very conscious about their training and have confidence, and their results will soon be improved. Follow me. After Lu Jun finished speaking, he sighed and added, maybe it will be better in Japan. The Japanese have the money, right? How about changing your club to Jeorjeong Jinxiudati Badminton Club, Lu Ligan said suddenly. Zhang Chen and Lu Jun both turned to look at him, and Lu Ligan said. The Japanese can afford you, and so can I. I'll give you 15,000 a month. In addition, I'll give the club 500,000 a year. Is that enough for training and competition? Zhang Chen's eyes lit up and he said yes, this way, Lu Jun, your team will not break up. Jeorjeong Splendid Land will go out to compete. The poll also has an advertising effect. If you get the ranking, I will give you coach and player rewards. Really, Lu Jun shouted, are the two bosses joking with me? Of course it's true. Lu Ligan smiled and said, you can sign the agreement tomorrow, and the first month's salary will be given to you after signing the agreement. However, this Splendid Land Badminton Club is not like what you are doing now. A club like this is just something you call casually, but it needs to be registered with the Industrial and Commercial Bureau, and it is a formal unit. Okay, no problem, Lu Jun said, then I will officially work? This is even better. Then this venue will be used as a venue for your club, Zhang Chen said. Thank you, Tin Soldier, for reading the book every day and ranking third from top to bottom for the reward. Thank you for your monthly votes from Aiju, Li Rujin, Hwaer and Boy, Firewood Gatherer, Yu, Kingbo, Tianying 1978, Pai Wu Sun and Ba Liang. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1026. Jeorjeong Jinxiudati Badminton Club was quickly established. Lu Jun served as the legal person and the head coach. At the same time, 3 more coaches, 2 men and 1 woman, were hired. The students below are divided into teams 1 and 2. The second team still signs up for training on their own and needs to pay tuition. The first team goes to each school and other gyms to select children who they think have athletic talent. Who are the official members of the club, not only train and go out to participate in competitions for free, but also distribute sportswear and sports equipment. Members of the second team can be transferred to the first team at any time if they perform well. Tan Shahen and Xiao Zhao also sent Xiang Nan and Xiang Bei to the second team to participate in training. From the coach to Zhang Chen, they all feel that Xiang Nan has this talent. Whether it is her physical coordination or her ability to understand movements, she is very high. She should have a better chance of being transferred to the first team. To everyone's surprise, Zhang Xiangbei immediately became excited as soon as he arrived at the gym. He was very interested in playing badminton and highly motivated in training. He was quickly transferred to the first team by Lu Jun. Xiao Zhao was secretly proud of this for a while, and said to Zhang Chen, "Did you see that our son is also a bit athletic?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "Of course, how can a person who was conceived on a coal pile not be wild?" "Oh chi!" Xiao Zhao yelled and came to hit Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen laughed, and Xiao Zhao also laughed. She said, "It's true, luckily it's not bad, right?" Zhang Chen's stomach almost hurt from laughing. Zhang Chen and Xiao Zhao were very happy that Zhang Xiangbei could join the first team. Of course, they didn't save money by joining the first team. Rather, the players in the first team were generally of high quality, and Lu Jun should lead them himself. Training: the training level of the two teams will definitely be different. Mixed in a bunch of miscellaneous troops in the second team, you can only treat training as entertainment. In contrast, although Xiangnan has good conditions in all aspects, she does not seem to be very interested in badminton. She is lazy during training, unlike Zhang Xiangbei, who does every move required by the coach. Well done. Although Xiang Nan quickly understood the pace of badminton and was really nimble when running, she was lazy and her racket swings were soft. As long as the coach didn't see her, she would be lazy as long as she could. Tan Shahen looked at it and scratched her head. She felt that Xiang Nan's performance was both beyond her expectations and a little disappointing. It wasn't until Lu Jun announced that Zhang Xiangbei had gone to the first team, but she stayed in the second team. Xiangnan cried a lot, and then she became serious and became serious. When she became serious, even the coach and Lu Jun were afraid. Everyone said that the progress was so rapid and unbelievable that I had never seen such a child before. Xiang Nan soon joined the team, and Tan Shahen breathed a sigh of relief. But after arriving at the first team in the south, he immediately relaxed again. Lu Jun couldn't figure out why. In order to stimulate the morale of the first team, Lu Jun came up with a way, that is, every week, their first team will have an intra-team competition, and the two male and female players with the lowest scores will train with the second team in the next week. As punishment, he found that every day before a game, Xiang Nan would start to get serious. On the day of the game, she seemed to be a completely different person. As soon as she came on the court, she immediately entered the state. Lu Jun judged that she couldn't save many balls in front of the net. But she moved unusually fast. With half a step under her feet, she was able to move into position and save the ball. For many half lobs, Lu Jun believed that based on Xiangnan's usual training level, she would not be able to dunk the opponent to death, but she could always hit the bottom line or sideline to dunk the ball to death. Every week, Lu Jun doesn't have to worry about Zhang Xiangbei, knowing that he will definitely pass. He feels that based on Xiangnan's training this week, she may be hanging, but when it comes to competitions, she can often perform beyond her level. Among several team members, the ranking is in the middle. Every time Lu Jun saw Tan Shahen, he would sigh and tell her, "Your Nanan is a competitive player. When she gets on the court, she will not have stage fright at all, and she will perform beyond her level. Such an athlete is really it's so rare that you can't even find it. Mr. Tan, let me tell you, there are some things that cannot be trained through training. This is talent. Really, Mr. Tan, if she trains more seriously, she will definitely make great progress." Tan Shahen understood. She knew that there were some students who were just like this. They were usually good, and their grades were among the best in the class and even grade. But when they took the exam, they were confused as soon as they entered the examination room. The teacher saw his I am even more confused about my grades. Did you get these grades? Xiang Nan is definitely not such a person, Tan Shahen thought proudly, of course this is talent, isn't it just inherited from me? Tan Shahen thought that she was like this. No matter what happened, no matter how bad her mood was, or how chaotic the audience was, as soon as she got on stage, she would immediately enter the state and forget everything else. Just like that time, when she participated in the Sanjiang Young Singer Grand Prix, she was so nervous before she went on stage. Her throat was tight, her whole body was trembling, and she could hardly make her voice come out. But as soon as she got to the stage, she opened her mouth and suddenly she relaxed. The first 1 or 2 sentences were a bit flawed, but she immediately adjusted and got into the mood. I, Tan Shahen, have never been shy. Aren't the arena and the stage the same thing? Well done, Nan Nan. Tan Shahen called Xiang Nan over, and she and Lu Jun asked her, "Nanan, why can't you be more serious when you train?" Xiang Nan stared at them blankly with his big eyes open, saying nothing. Nan, can you promise mom that you will train seriously in the future?" Xiang Nan still looked at her, without nodding, shaking his head, or saying anything. "Xiang Nan, do you want to be eliminated?" Lu Jun asked. Xiang Nan looked at him with wide eyes and shook his head. "Then do you want to win every game?" Lu Jun asked again. Xiang Nan shook his head and nodded, and shook his head. "Do you want to be a champion?" This time, Xiang Nan immediately shook his head. Lu Jun sighed, looked at Tan Shahen, shook his head helplessly, walked outside, and said to Tan Shahen, "Mr. Tan, there is nothing I can do about this athlete who does not want to be a champion. By the way, Mr. Tan, this cannot be achieved through training. I can teach her techniques, but I cannot give her a competitive spirit." On the way to send Xiang Nan back to splendid home, Tan Shahen asked Xiang Nan, why don't you want to be the champion? When Xiang Nan didn't make any sound, Tan Shahen turned to look at Xiang Nan, who was sitting in the passenger seat, and found that Xiang Nan was looking out of the glass with an indifferent look on his face. Tan Shahen asked, "Xiang Nan, mom will ask you again, why don't you want to be a champion?" Still no sound to the south. Tan Shahen sighed inwardly and cursed, "This is not like me, like that bastard, who doesn't care about anything. I, Tan Shahen, want to be perfect in everything, and strive to be first in everything. Xiangnan, my mother has a competitive heart, but she can't give it to you." "I don't like playing ball," Xiang Nan said suddenly. Tan Shahen asked, "Then when Aunt Xiao Zhao and I took you to sign up, you didn't object?" "Of course, that's because Zhang Xiangbei likes it. He likes to fight, so I will accompany him. I want to watch him. Let me tell you, Mom, this is Xiangbei. If I don't watch him, he will do everything. If he didn't do well, I wasn't in the kindergarten, and his performance was so bad that the teacher complained to grandma several times." As Xiang Nan said that, Tan Shahen couldn't help but laugh. "So that's it? Okay, if you don't like it, just don't like it. Anyway, you won't make a living by playing basketball in the future." Tan Shahen reached out and patted Xiang Nan's head. Tan Shahen asked, Nan, tell me, what do you want to learn?" "I want to learn violin," Xiang Nan said. Tan Shahen nodded, "Okay, then let's learn violin." "What about badminton?" "Of course I still have to learn. Zhang Xiangbei still wants to win the championship. I want to keep an eye on him," Xiangnan said. Tan Shahen, Zhang Chen, and Xiao Zhao said that they should let Nanan and Baibei learn violin. "Aren't you learning piano?" "Many children are learning piano," Xiao Zhao said. "I think the violin is better. Once you learn the piano, you can't carry it around with you. You can take the violin with you. No matter what you go to school in the future, you can take the violin with you. Besides, the violin is the king of musical instruments and it is difficult to learn. But once they learn it, whatever they want to learn in the future will be very simple," Tan Shahen said. Xiao Zhao nodded and said, "I don't understand this either." Sister Shahen said the violin is good, so let them learn the violin. Tan Shahen called teacher Shi from the Yongcheng Cultural Center and told her that her daughter wanted to learn the violin. "Is there any violin teacher that teacher Shi could recommend, one-on-one, that could come to your home to teach her?" Teacher Shi said, "Okay, I will ask my classmates for you." Tan Shahen thought that Shi and Xiao Zhao were both very busy and had to be picked up and dropped off by two old people every time. It was inconvenient after all. It would be best to come to teach. Teacher Shi called back and gave Tan Shahen a call. He told her that this is my classmate, whose surname is Ning. She is from Ningbo and plays violin in the Hangzhou song and dance troupe. Please contact her. Tan Shahen said yes, thank you teacher Shi. After calling teacher Ning, making an appointment, and asking for the address of teacher Ning's home, Tan Shahen and Xiao Zhao took Xiang Nan and Xiang Bei. Teacher Ning lives in the 5th district of Zayawai, in the dormitory building of the Hangcheng Song and Dance Troupe. The current situation of the Hangcheng Song and Dance Troupe is similar to that of the Yongchengwu Opera Troupe. There are no performances or rehearsals at ordinary times, and it is basically in a semi-free state, that is, when there is a Westlake Expo or other large-scale event in the city, gather people together temporarily and rehearse. The people in the troupe usually rely on their own abilities to engage in teaching activities outside. Fortunately, in recent years, everyone has paid attention to children's literary and artistic education, and they can learn everything. Therefore, even the people in the troupe can dance folk dances. They all bring students, and those who play the piano, violin, and saxophone are even more popular. Teacher Ning's home is similar to Tan Shahen's home when she was in the U Opera Troupe. There are 2 rooms facing each other, 1 bedroom, another living room and dining room, and the kitchen is also in the corridor. When Tan Shahen walked into such a corridor, she fell into a trance. The difference is that they moved the dining table to the bedroom, making this room the living room and the classroom where teacher Ning teaches students. When Tan Shahen and the others arrived, there was another student learning piano here, and they sat on the edge. After he finished studying and left, teacher Ning talked to them about the 2 children learning piano. The 2 parties quickly reached an agreement on the tuition and time, 3 days a week, from 7 to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. But when it came to teaching at home, teacher Ning hesitated a little. She said, mainly I have other students, and it takes too much time to come and go. Here, I usually teach on site. Tan Shahen thought for a while and said, we are mainly 2 children. We are with the elderly. It is not convenient for them to pick up and drop off. When we get here, the children are learning the piano and the elderly have nothing to do. Let's do this, teacher Ning, we will double the tuition fee and then every time, let the driver pick you up and drop you off, so it only takes 10 minutes to go there. Yes, teacher, please help me, Xiao Zhao also said. Okay, teacher Ning agreed. Asked again what kind of violin they needed to buy, teacher Ning looked at Xiang Nan and Xiang Bei and told them that they were still young and could only use a small violin, and it didn't need to be very good. They could just buy it from a general piano store. When you reach 5th grade and you can use a normal piano, I will introduce you to ordering one. There is a good violin maker in Hangzhou who returned from studying in Italy. Tan Shahen and Xiao Zhao quickly agreed. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1027. Looking at Xiang Nan, Lu Jun still refused to give up. He felt that it would be a pity to miss such a good young talent. It might be a huge loss to the Zhejiang badminton world. He felt that he still had this vision, and he would not be wrong. He could tell when Yezing was very young that she would be the leader of Zhejiang women's badminton after Li Lingwei. On Sunday afternoon, Lu Jun invited one of his senior brothers and a junior sister to come to the arena to have a look. Both of them teach badminton at Chenjinglun Sports School in Hangcheng. The senior brother's surname is Ji, which is written as Ji for the People's Liberation Army and pronounced as Xie for thank you. But they don't call him Lao Ji, but call him Lao Xie, and Lao Xie is Chen. The leader of the badminton teaching group of Jinglun Sports School, a junior girl named Miao Miao, is the coach of the women's badminton team of the sports school. Lu Jun thought to himself, if Xiang Nan was asked to compete with a female student, she would look so lazy and nonchalant that it would make you angry. As a coach, the most disgusting thing is that your subordinates have no winning mentality. You tell her that every point is crucial, and your mouth is dry. I was so anxious that I wanted to kick her. If she hadn't been a child or a woman, Lu Jun would have really wanted to kick her or spank her with a racket many times. Lu Jun thought for a while and came up with an idea. He called Xiang Nan and a little boy whose level was a little higher than hers, and told them, "You two come to compete." The little boy immediately stopped and shouted, "What, want me to compete with a girl? Boss, did you make a mistake?" Lu Jun said, "Yes, I just want you to compete with her, beat her to pieces and shave her head, can you do it?" The little boy laughed, "No problem, boss." He turned towards the south, made a face, and shouted, "You are going to shave your head and go home today. You are going to become a monk." Xiang Nan bit her lip, rolled her eyes at Lu Jun, and then snorted at the little boy. Lu Jun felt happy. He knew that Xiang Nan was angry and aroused. This was the effect he wanted. Still needing to work harder, Lu Jun clapped his hands and shouted, come here, everyone from the first and second teams come over here." Everyone gathered around, and Lu Jun told everyone that they would stop training and take a break to watch the two of them compete. He shouted to the little boy again, "You said you want to shave her head. Let's see if he can do it." Everyone cheered "Oh," and Lu Jun saw that Xiang Nan's face was already flushed, and he felt even happier. Hearing that the little boy was going to compete with Xiang Nan and was planning to shave her head, everyone cheered. Soon, all the men stood on the side of the little boy, and all the women stood on Xiang Nan's side. The men on Xiangnan's side said to Xiangbei and Xiangnan, "Sister, don't be afraid, he is rubbish." Xiang Nan nodded. The game started, and the winner was determined by one set. The team members stood in a circle around the court. A coach came out to serve as the referee, and there were two coaches, a boy and a girl, who acted as the coach and cheerleader of the little boy and Xiangnan respectively. Lu Junhe, Lao Xia and Miao Miao stood outside the crowd. Lu Jun said to the two of them, "Look at this little girl." The three people stood there. They were different from the others in that they didn't care about the score. Instead, they looked at Xiang Nan, paying attention to her movements and coordination. "Holy shit, Li Mao," Lao Xia shouted. Lu Jun was stunned for a moment, and Lao Xia asked, "Lu Jun, what did you teach her? Isn't this the Limo Bu?" When Lao Xia said this, Lu Jun suddenly realized, "Yes, isn't this Li Mao Buletin?" Li Mao is a badminton player born in Wenzhou, Zhejiang. He is also an outstanding men's singles player in our country. He led the Zhejiang men's team to win the national championship. He later served as the head coach of the Chinese badminton men's team and brought out Dong Jian, Sun Junhe Chen Gang and other world champions. His training methods are very unique, and his footwork on the court is different from others. Lu Jun and Lao Xia are both old friends of Li Mao. They have played together, and their group of people are all his footwork on the court is called Limo Bu. The most typical one is his big diagonal and small steps. In Xiangnan's previous games, Lu Jun saw that she could always save the balls that seemed to be missing the target, and she kept thinking about how she did it. When Lao Xia said it, he remembered, "Yes, isn't this Limo Bu? Her footwork on the court is really very similar to Li Mao's, very efficient, but her legs are not strong enough and her movements are a bit soft. The step she takes is not as powerful as Li Mao's, but just the transition may not seem so obvious, but when broken down into her movements, it really is Li Mao Buletin." Look, it's here again," Lao Xia shouted. On the court, the little boy hit the ball to Xiangnan's left back court, Xiangnan returned it, and the little boy hoisted the ball to Xiangnan's right front court. At this time, he saw Xiangnan step out with his right leg and hit the ball with his right. In order to support the foot, the leg lightly jumped forward, also called a step. With this step, the left leg stepped out and was immediately in place to return the ball. It is equivalent to the same distance. Others need 2 or 3 steps, but she reaches it in 1 step, saving a lot of time. Of course, she has plenty of time to return the ball. It's just that her leg strength is not enough. This step is not very good, the stride is a bit small, but the opponent's waist and wrist strength are also not in place, and she is not able to press the bottom line in the backcourt and hang the net. He couldn't stick to the net so well before, so Xiangnan was more than enough to deal with him. It's really amazing, Lu Jun, how did she learn how to do it? Miao Miao also saw it and shouted, everyone who plays badminton knows that it is not difficult if an action is broken down or performed intentionally. Like this Li Mao Bulletin, they have to learn it consciously. They can learn it in just 1 or 2 steps. The difficulty is that during the game, almost all your actions are subconscious. Every action is not thought out, but is displayed naturally and subconsciously. This is why athletes have to repeat those boring movements day after day, just to transform these movements into your body memory and become your subconscious movements when you get to the competition field. Lu Jun smiled sheepishly, I really haven't taught her this. She should have figured it out on her own. Genius, Lao Xing shouted. Lu Jun said, you have never seen her usual training. It makes you really want to beat her, but when it comes to competition, she is like this. Competition player, Miao Miao asked. Yes, a typical competitive player, Lu Jun said. Never mind, Lu Jun, let her go and let her come to my place, Miao Miao said. Lao Xing shouted, what else are you talking about? Grab it? Lu Jun quickly smiled and said, no need to fight, I asked you to come, that's what I meant. I feel a little unable to take care of her here. You are professionals after all. It may be good for her to let her go to your school. It's okay. Don't worry, Lu Jun, no matter how difficult the child is to take care of, I can find a way, Miao Miao said. When the 3 people were talking, cheers came from the side of the court. They looked at the court again, and Xiangnan actually defeated the little boy. She walked up to the little boy, stuck out her tongue, and shook her head, eh. The little boy blushed in shame, stretched out his hand and pushed Xiangnan, and pushed Xiang North on the other side. He bumped into him with a bang, and the 2 of them struggled together. Several coaches quickly pulled them away. Feng Xiangnan, Lu Jun shouted. Xiangnan turned around, Lu Jun waved to her and shouted, come here. Walking over to Xiangnan, she thought Lu Jun was going to say what happened just now, so she shouted, he beat someone even though he lost. Lu Jun smiled and said, that's not what I'm looking for you about. Please tell me, what's going on with your footwork on the court? Xiangnan looked at him, not knowing what he was talking about. Lu Jun walked to a corner of the court, tapped his toes and said, come on, go from here to the diagonal net, save the ball in front of the net, and make a move. Xiangnan did what Lu Jun usually taught them, cross-stepping and moving 2 steps to the net, which looked a little clumsy. No, it wasn't like this before. Come on, look at me. Lao Xie shouted. He walked to a corner of the court, learned the Li Mao step, and reached the net in 1 step. Lao Xie said. You are like this, do you see clearly? Xiangnan nodded. That's it, you do this, from here to there, touching the water in her hand with the racket. Lao Xie shouted, and Miao Miao had already walked to the diagonal net, holding a bottle of water in her hand, simulating badminton. As soon as Lao Xie started shouting, she took a light step to the south, and in 1 step, pop, there was a loud sound, hitting the water in Miao Miao's hand. Perfect, Miao Miao shouted. Lao Xie looked at Lu Jun, and both of them laughed. Xiangnan looked at them, feeling a little confused. Very good, Xiangnan, you can do this from now on and forget the footwork I taught you, Lu Jun said. This is very good, do you understand? Xiangnan nodded. Lao Xie became interested and asked Xiangnan, how did you come up with the idea of leaving like this? Xiangnan thought for a while and said shyly, I didn't think much about it, so I just did it. I just felt that it was faster and more energy saving. Just like somersaults, the center of gravity cannot be in the hands. If it is in the hands, when I reach the net, if my foot takes just 1 step, Won't I be there? If I take one more step, the person's center of gravity will shake, as if he is unstable. Lao Xie and Lu Jun nodded in approval. Little sister, can you do somersaults? Meow Meow asked. Xiang Nan nodded. Can you turn it over to us? After Xiangnan said yes, she handed the badminton racket to Meow Meow, walked away and stood 2 steps, lifted her body up slightly, and then started to do somersaults, turning 5 or 6 times in a row. Somersaulted, stopped, and stood there without breathing. This kid can do gymnastics, Lao Xie shouted. No matter what, I've got it, Lu Jun, Meow Meow shouted. Then you have to ask your parents for permission, Lu Jun said. Quickly, please contact your parents and we'll talk to them. Lao Xie couldn't wait any longer. Lu Jun said yes, I will call her mother. They walked to the office, which was on the roof of the building. Several newly separated rooms served as the offices of the Zhejiang Jingxi Udati Badminton Club. Lu Jun called Tan Shahan's mobile phone. Today is Sunday, a day off. Tan Shahan is at home. Lu Jun tells her on the phone, Mr. Tan, there are 2 teachers from Chenjinglun Sports School who want to talk to you about Xiangnan. When are you going to Chenjinglun? Tan Shahan asked. No, Mr. Tan, they are in my office now and want to talk to you right away. Tan Shahan said yes, I will come right away. After putting down the phone, Tan Shahan walked through the small door from behind and walked over to the side. When passing Zhang Chen's office, she heard that there were many people in his office, and Lu Ligan was of course indispensable. It seemed that there were also Wu Ziyawai and Lao Tan. It seemed that they were going to get together again tonight. Thank you, Tin Soldier, for reading the book every day and ranking 3rd from top to bottom for the reward. Thank you Lao Chantang, Li Rujin, UN11, and Chiyo 2018072012592087 for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1028. Tan Shahan arrived at Lu Jun's office. After Lu Jun introduced them to each other, everyone sat down. Lu Jun and Tan Shahan said that they were here specifically to watch Xiang Nan play ball today. Tan Shahan quickly said, what is there to see for a child who has only studied for 2 months? Lao Xie smiled and said, Xiang Nan's mother, we are not here to see the child's playing skills, but to see her various conditions. As long as you have talent, you can learn skills quickly, and some things, such as it is impossible for her to have strength or anything like that now, but as she grows older and exercises for a long time, she will naturally have it by then. Mr. Tan, we have carefully observed before. It can be said that Xiangnan's conditions are very good in all aspects. To be honest, I go to all parts of the province to select team members every year. I have seen hundreds if not thousands of children, but it's rare to find conditions as good as those in Xiangnan, Meow Meow said. Tan Shahan quickly said, thank you. Thank you 2 teachers. Lu Jun got to the point on their behalf and said to Tan Shahan, Mr. Tan, after they saw Xiangnan, they hope that Xiangnan can come to study with them. Tan Shahan didn't understand at first, so she went to study with them. Are you going to play ball? Mom Xiangnan, do you know about our school? Lao Xie asked. Chenjinglun? You know, isn't it over there at Huanglong? Tan Shahan said. Yes, that's right, it's in Huanglong. Our school specially selects good sports talents and trains them from an early age. There are more than 20 world champions in various sports who came out of our school. After they went south to our place, it will definitely be of great help to her future development. Meow Meow also said, Mr. Tan, I promise you that Xiang Nan is in my class and I will take good care of her. Tan Shahan understood and said, I understand. If Xiangnan goes to your place, he won't be able to continue studying in school, right? Meow Meow smiled and said, we also have cultural classes there, but the proportion of daily classes is not as large as she is at Byokuta Experimental School now. They are still mainly vocational training and competitions. Then what? Tan Shahen asked. I mean, it's time to go to junior high school or high school. Lu Jun said, Mr. Tan, Xiangnan's arrival at Chenjinglun is the first step towards becoming a professional athlete. Through training and competition, she will then enter the city team, provincial team, and even the national team. I believe Xiangnan has this strength. Enter the national team. There are too many accidental factors for this. You can't just rely on your own strength, right? Tan Shahen said, thinking, I almost went to CCTV, what will be the result? Lu Jun, Lao Xie, and Miao Miao looked at each other, feeling a little guilty. Lao Xie and Miao Miao did not dare to say too much in this regard. The reason for their guilty conscience is, on the one hand, as Tan Shahen said, to enter the national team, you must have strength, but there are also many accidental factors. Those who can enter the national team do not go through a strict selection process. If you rank well, you can get in, but the coach of the national team, especially the head coach, must take a fancy to you. In the context of time and space at that time, what just happened made the entire Zhejiang badminton community feel a little frustrated and even felt that the future was bleak. It turns out that the entire Zhejiang badminton team has always had a good relationship with the national team. This road is very smooth. The head coach of the men's team of the national team is Li Mao from Zhejiang, and the head coach of the women's team is also Li Lingwei from Zhejiang. However, due to various reasons, these two people disagreed with Li Yongbo, the head coach of the national team at the time, and their conflicts became completely public. The collective impeachment incident was reported in the news media at the time. The two sides finally broke up completely in 1998, and a large number of coaches and athletes left the national team. The following year, Li Mao went to South Korea to coach and train two little-known young players, Sun Chenmo and Li Xuanyi, into world-class players. After the Athens Olympics, he went to Malaysia and brought out world-famous players like Li Zongwei. It was not until 2019 that Li Mao returned to the Chinese national team as the head coach of the men's team. Li Lingwei therefore returned to Zhejiang and served in the Zhejiang Provincial Sports Commission. Later, she went to Beijing to serve as a member of the International Olympic Committee and vice president of the Chinese Olympic Committee. Of course, these are things for later. But in 1998, Lao Xie and Miao Miao met Tan Shahen under such a background. At that time, people in Zhejiang badminton circles were saying that in the future, as long as Li Yongbo is still the head coach, Zhejiang athletes probably don't want to join the national team. Therefore, they felt a little guilty when talking about joining the national team. Lu Jun said, Mr. Tan, Xiangnan is indeed a very good young talent. It would be a pity not to go to Chenjinglun and not play badminton. Tan Shahen smiled and said, I know what you are talking about. In fact, this is how I came here. When I was 8 years old, I entered the student class of the theater troupe. When I was 11 years old, I started performing on stage. Leaving the stage at the age of 29, is our actor's experience a bit similar to that of your athletes? When Tan Shahen said this, both Lao Xie and Miao Miao laughed and breathed a sigh of relief. Now that they have had this experience, there is no need to explain more about what the children's life will be like when they get to school. Miao Miao said. It's really a bit similar, but the content of the study is different. The experience is probably the same. I try my best to achieve results and win flowers and applause, Tan Shahen said with a smile. Lu Jun, Lao Xie, and Miao Miao all nodded. Tan Shahen thought for a moment and said, I think I'd better let Xiangnan stay in school and continue schooling. The three of them were stunned for a moment. Tan Shahen's words were somewhat beyond their expectations. Just now, they thought they had found a common language with Tan Shahen. Why did the situation change suddenly? Lu Jun asked. Mr. Tan, what do you mean, you don't want to send Xiang Nan to Chenjinglun? Tan Shahen nodded and said yes, I think, let her take the path that most people take, go to school, take the college entrance examination, go to university, and then work. I don't want her to be different from most people. Lao Xie was a little anxious. Xiang Nan's mother, don't you want Xiang Nan to join the national team, participate in the Asian Games and Olympic Games, and win the World Championship? Tan Shahen shook her head, only those who have walked through it will know that it is too hard. Mr. Tan, then you have to think about Xiangnan's future. Miao Miao shouted. Tan Shahen looked at her and said, I was thinking about my daughter. You are right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to belittle the athletes. I said it and I have experienced it. What you said is indeed right. Win the championship, enjoying the flowers and applause, it looks really beautiful, it is an avenue of stars, but who knows, this avenue of stars is paved with thorns. You have to step on thorns to reach your goal. I think Coach Lu and you all know this well. People say that getting into college is like crossing a single plank bridge with thousands of troops. To win the championship, crossing is more than just a single plank bridge. It is simply walking on a tightrope. There are so many people in the world, why can you get the first place? It's not because you need to endure hardships that others cannot. And, so what if you get it, whether it's flowers, applause, or spotlight, when you stand on the stage and enjoy it all, it feels really good, as if the whole world is you. Yes, but all this is actually short-lived and will disappear soon. When the lights go out, the halo on you is gone. What you feel at this time is darkness, loneliness, and coldness. When you open the door, you have to face a real world, to live and survive. Only then do you realize that the applause and flowers are not your end. That darkness is your starting point. And at this time, you will find that for everything you have paid in the past 20 years, this society has settled the accounts with you, and the applause and flowers are paid to you. This society no longer owes you. Time is written off, it will discover and require new stars, you are already in the past tense. Reality is cruel. At this time, you realize that you are actually worse than most people. It seems that your life has been separated from reality for too long. You even have less ability and skills to survive than others. It was only when you were 29 that you felt that you had truly entered society, and as soon as you entered, you realized that you were almost eliminated by this society. I have to work harder than others every day to adapt to this society. I have to take care of my daughter, go to work, study hard, and take self-study exams. I have to do it all over again to catch up with this society. The development of society, otherwise, I can only lament in the corner, or take out photos of myself on stage every day to recall the past. At this time, you will also find that when this society settles the accounts with you with flowers and applause, what you have to pay is not only your past, but also your future. If you ask me if I don't regret it, I will definitely tell you that I do. I am not stupider than others, nor am I stupider than others. Even if I take an ordinary path, I think I have the ability to do it better than most people. I just want to squeeze through the single plank bridge. I have the ability to squeeze across. It's okay to squeeze across. Otherwise, it's flat ground. Why bother walking on the wire rope? After walking across, there is an abyss in front of me and there is no road. I'm sorry, did I say too much? When Tan Shahen talked about this, she thought of herself and kept talking. The three people were silent, especially Lu Jun. He knew that Tan Shahen was talking about herself, but she was not talking about him. Everything she said, it's not a reflection of myself. Yes, I won the world championship. I did enjoy the applause and flowers. Tan Shahen was right. When she stood on the highest podium, she raised her hands and waved around. At that time, she really enjoyed the applause and flowers. I feel like the whole world belongs to me, and I have attracted so many people's attention. But what happens after that? How many people will still remember you as the world champion? You go to school every day and lead a group of children to run on the playground. What is the difference between you and those young teachers who have just been assigned from school? Even because you didn't have a diploma, your score was lower than others when evaluating professional titles and room assignments. At that time, did anyone remember that you were a world champion different from them? You are indeed different from them. The difference is that they all have diplomas, but you don't. The difference is that in the professional title examination, you can't pass others, that's it. If he hadn't returned to the dormitory and saw the photo of himself when he received the award hanging on the wall, Lu Jun felt that even he had almost forgotten that he was the world champion. Does the person on the wall have anything to do with him? Tan Shahen felt that the atmosphere in the room was a little dull, all because of her words. She said, "I'm sorry, please forgive me. I really couldn't control it because I felt too deeply when I talked about this. I said a little too much. Maybe I also felt that if I told others, they might not understand. You guys, I have similar experiences to you, so you can understand. It's okay, Mr. Tan. What you said was very candid and true. There are some things that even I don't dare to think about. You said it, and I want to thank you," Lu Jun said. Lu Jun looked at Lao Xia and Miao Miao and said with a smile, "Is this the case?" The two men nodded. "Thank you to Laughing and Running Y for the tip. Thank you for your monthly passes to Laughing and Running Y, Busy Farce, Lu, and Bailiang. Thanks for all the votes and reading. Have a good evening everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1029. Tan Shahen said goodbye to Lu Jun, Lao Xie, and Miao Miao, and walked back to the small door. There were more people in Zhang Chen's office. In addition to Lao Tan and Wu Ziyawai, the great ancestors of the Han dynasty Lu Bang and Lin Shuwen, Chu Tianlin, and Xiaoan also arrived. Tan Shahen walked in and saw that Xiang Nan and Xiang Bei had also trained and returned here. They were waiting to have dinner together in the evening. The moment she saw Xiang Nan, Tan Shahen suddenly felt a chill in her heart. She didn't know if her decision just now was the right one. After a while, she calmed down and thought, yes, we will never take that road again. I don't want to have to worry about you every day for 20 years. Since the champion is only 1 in 10,000, there are still 9,999 who can't become the champion. These 9,999 are even more miserable. They don't even have a chance to have their dreams broken, and they haven't touched it yet. When you realize your dream, you are forced to wake up. Tan Shahen remembered the scene when she was standing there with a microphone in her hand. When she knew that she could not participate in the CCTV Young Singer Grand Prix, she felt that her heart suddenly skipped a beat, then stopped, and then her heart died. Then I am no longer afraid of death. At that moment, she decided that it was time. She wanted to find Wang Linghua to clear the ledger, and she also wanted to clear the ledger with the society. If it weren't for Xiao Wu, all her accounts would be completely cleared that day. She, Tan Shahen, is lucky. She is lucky to have Xiao Wu, Zhang Chen, and even Lu Ligan, so that she will not have no way out, and she will still have this day. Tan Shahen felt that she would never let her daughter settle accounts with society early. She was not sure whether Xiao Wu and Zhang Chen would be there in Xiongnan that day. "Mom, I want to have dinner with you." Xiang Nan came over, leaned against Tan Shahen, and said to her. Tan Shahen woke up and thought, today is Sunday. How can that be okay? Teacher Ning is coming in the evening, and you still have to learn the piano. Tan Shahen said that Xiang Nan's mouth became flat. Xiao Zhao saw it and immediately said, "It's okay, it's okay. Just send them back at 6:30. Tan Shahen nodded and said, "Okay," then Xiongnan left. Lu Ligan looked at his watch and shouted, "Let's go, let's leave now." Zhang Chen scolded, "There's something wrong with you. It's only 4:30. How can you have dinner so early? You're the one with the problem. Who stipulates that you can't have dinner at 4:30? Today, Nanan and Bai, these two young athletes and musicians are the biggest. Our time must match theirs," Lu Ligan scolded back. "Okay, okay, south to north is the biggest," Wu Zayawai also said, "Let's go." Everyone stood up one after another. "Where is Wei Venfang?" Tan Shahen asked. "In the company, I called and asked her to go directly to Tianxiang building," Wu Zayawai said. "By the way, I also want to make a second-hand phone call," Lao Tan remembered and shouted. "No one called me even after dinner, what do you mean?" Someone shouted outside the door. Everyone turned around and saw that it was Mengping. He ran over shouting to the south and north, "Uncle Mengping." As soon as Mengping bent down, he picked them up one by one, and then immediately shouted, "Oh, it's so heavy, Uncle can hardly hold it." South and north giggled. Lu Ligan looked behind Mengping and asked curiously, "Alone?" "A person," Mengping said. "Is the horse coming soon?" "He went to work at Jianfang's place," Mengping said with a smile. "What's the meaning?" "My company has actually been dissolved. The shopping malls below have been rented out. I don't have any house or land in my hands. Why do I still have the company? No way, it's so miserable." "Lao Meng, are you the commander-in-chief now?" Wu Zayawai shouted. "Yeah, how about you take me in?" Mengping laughed, "I'll go to your place to deliver the express." "Okay, if you drive a Cadillac to deliver express, our company will be awesome now," Wu Zayawai said. "Mengping, what's going on?" Zhang Chen asked. "Let's go, let's talk later, let's go eat first, I'm almost starving to death," Mengping shouted, "I just ate 2 buns on the way." "Strange, when did Lao Meng, the duck commander, appear? There were no salted ducks," Lu Ligan asked. "Not today," Mengping said. They arrived at Tianxiang Tower and sat down. After a while, the couple arrived holding their child Mao Mao, and then Wang Minsheng also arrived. Wang Minsheng brought a big cake and 2 small cakes. The 2 small cakes were specially made by him for Xiang Nan and Xiang Bei. When they opened the box, they were very happy. Inside were 2 Mickey Mouse and Mr. Tang. Everyone stood up and looked at the duck-shaped cake. They were all very surprised. Lin Shuwen shouted, "So cute." Lu Ligan said, "You scream so cutely." Everyone laughed, and Lin Shuwen made a face at him. Chu Tianlin and Xiaoan couldn't wait to take the big cake and divide it between them. Xiang Nan and Xiang Bei held spoons in their hands and stared at the cake in front of them, reluctant to start. Everyone knew that they were reluctant to eat. Xiang Nan said, "It would be great if I could take it to school." Xiang Bei said, "It would be great if I could take it to the kindergarten." "Humph, if you take it, you will definitely be snatched away by Fatty Wang, and you won't even be able to eat it," Xiang Nan shouted. "Which Fatty Wang?" asked the second-hand guy. "Fat Wang in their class always grabs Zhang Xiangbei's things," Xiang Nan shouted. The second-rate guy scolded, "There is still this kind of thing, Bai Bei, why didn't you tell me earlier? I'm going to teach this Fatty Wang a lesson." Zhang Chen quickly stopped him, "Don't interfere in matters between children." The idiot rolled his eyes at him and cursed, "You only have to care about children's affairs. You want others to know that there are adults in his family, and you also want to let Bai Bei know that he has someone he can rely on." "Yes, you idiot, I support you," Lu Ligan shouted. A bunch of adults started to argue over whether they should intervene in this kind of thing, and soon 2 camps were formed. The second camp, Han Jiao Zulu Bang, Wu Zayawai and Lu Ligan, Xiaoan also supported them. The others are from another country, Mengping said. When children encounter this kind of thing, it is a time to test and exercise their ability to deal with things. If adults handle everything for them, they will not be able to wean themselves. The adults were talking about their children, but the two children didn't bother to pay attention to them. They still stared at the cake in front of them, reluctant to do anything. Wang Minsheng quietly told them, "Eat it. I'll make it for you tomorrow. You can't bring it into schools or kindergartens. I'll deliver it to your school gate after school. You can show it to your classmates, or you can eat it with your close classmates." "Really?" asked the two children. "Really?" Wang Minsheng nodded, "I will definitely deliver it tomorrow. Just wait for me at the school gate. Come on, pull the hook." The two children laughed and pulled the hook with Wang Minsheng, and then they started to eat, tasting their own first, and then the others. The second-rate son, in the second-rate hands, looked at them and screamed, "Tan Shahen, say quickly. Nanan, why don't you give your little brother some food?" The second-rate guy shouted, "No, no, no, he can't eat it, he's just greedy." Lu Ligan said, "You can give him wine, and he can eat the juice. Then I'll become Lulu," Zhang Chen said, and everyone laughed. Lao Tan used a spoon to scrape a small spoonful of cream from the side of the big cake. He handed the spoon to the second guy and told him that this could be eaten. Mengping looked at the wine on the table and asked Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, "Why did you switch to Wu Yanjai? You don't want to be shot?" Before the two people could say anything, Chu Tianlin, Xiao Zhao and Xiaoan burst out laughing. The others didn't know what was going on, so Xiao Zhao told them about Jian Baishao. Xiao Zhao said, "I can prove that these two people have never been together. From that day on, I never touched that wine again, and I didn't even know what to do with it." Mengping shouted, "No way, I drank a lot of that wine too, Zhuangzi, I have no enmity with you, why did you harm me with fake wine?" "Harm you? You are full of bad water. Use alcohol to clean you up. Otherwise, do you, Lao Meng, think you will survive today?" Lu Ligan scolded. "By the way, Mengping, you haven't said anything about your company yet," Zhang Chen said. "Didn't I already say that without an inch of land or an inch of housing, it is actually out of business?" Mengping said. "You haven't developed any new projects?" Tan Shahen asked. "Originally, we were planning to land it. There were 2 pieces of land that we had negotiated. However, the card fell through. Nanjing will follow your example in Hangzhou and it will also be auctioned," and failed. Mengping sighed, "My Mengping style, if you can't eat it anymore, I'll just take a look and say something else." Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan understood. They all knew how Mengping obtained land and projects from Haikan to Nanjing. The unified collection and storage of land and the implementation of bidding, auction, and listing have the greatest impact, indeed, on people like Mengping. They cut across the board without leaving a single gap. If Mengping wants to get land, he will not go to the top, but go directly to the auction venue to raise a placard. Yes, this does require an adaptation process for him. "Then you had nothing to do and came to Hangzhou?" Lu Ligan asked. "I came here to learn from you. You are so awesome now. In the beautiful land of Zhejiang, I heard about your reputation even in Nanjing. I was so scared that I shivered," Mengping said. "Even if the bidding fails, your skills can still be used for the time being," Lu Ligan said. Mengping quickly asked, "How to use it?" Lu Ligan told him about the floor area ratio, and Mengping understood immediately and shouted, "I understand, you mean, let the collection and storage center conduct an auction based on the floor price first, and I will go and auction it, and then go to the planning department to adjust the floor area ratio." Lu Lepole nodded. "Great, I'm just saying, we profiteers shouldn't be left without food at this time." Mengping shouted, "Wait a minute, I have to make a few calls first and arrange things right away." Meng Ping stood up and was about to make a call in the corridor outside. Before he could reach the door, the waiter pushed the door open and Wei Venfang arrived. "Thank you for your monthly pass. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all a happy mood." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 1030. It was already midnight, and although the cold wind blew on the face, making people shrink a bit, Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, and Meng Ping still stood in the garden on the roof of the dynamic zone and smoked. Next door, at the construction site in the center of Hangzhou, people were still working overtime at night. The sound of mixers kept ringing, and the sounds of workers shouting to each other seemed empty in the winter night sky. Neighboring residents have complained several times, saying that the noise from the construction site is too noisy at night, but it is impossible for Lu Ligan to ignore it. As long as his construction site does not change in a day, Lu Changcheng might call to inquire. Now the whole city of Hangzhou has fallen into the craze of running the city. Some people have already shouted that a new Hangzhou will be built. The wheel of history is going like this, regardless of day and night, cold or heat. How can anyone care about it? A weak voice. In the midst of collective exuberance, personal interests are always insignificant and even despised. How can you block the rapid development of the city because of your own sleep? Not only the center of Hangzhou, but also several roads in Hangzhou were under construction day and night. The characteristic of that era was that only the sound of the mixer was the most friendly sound, and it was the dream of every city dweller. There should be a voice like this in every room. What's more, this Hangzhou city center is a key city and provincial key project. The vigorous growth of this building is not only related to the face of Hangzhou city, but also the face of many officials. How can something as important as face be disturbed by a few complaint calls? Those are all unruly people, right? Ignore him. If you call to complain, you will in turn be criticized by the relevant personnel of the relevant departments, making you embarrassed to call again. 3 people were standing there smoking. On a building across the street from the stadium, someone with a nervous breakdown probably couldn't stand it anymore. He suddenly opened the window and yelled, you. Then he threw an empty wine bottle over. He originally wanted to throw it to the construction site in the center of Hangzhou opposite, but it didn't go that far. The bottle hit the stadium road with a snap and broke. Whether it was his yelling or the sound of the bottle hitting the ground, no one at the construction site heard it. How could his voice be compared to the humming of the mixer? Even if they heard it, they would probably be indifferent to it. I have become accustomed to this sound. On the road to the stadium, a taxi stopped with a screeching sound. The driver got out of the car and cursed upstairs, you. Get out of here. The bottle shattered on the ground more than 10 meters in front of his car. If he had been a few seconds faster, the bottle would have hit the roof of his car. If he hadn't braked in time, the shards of glass might have punctured his tires. The window was immediately closed, and then the lights in the window were darkened. The taxi driver got into the car with a curse, reversed the car, changed lanes, and drove away, avoiding the glass on the ground. The 3 people heard all this. They turned around to look, and Lu Ligan cursed, idiot. The wind continued to blow, and the sound of gurgling and gurgling continued. The 3 of them continued to smoke, with no intention of going back indoors. Meng Ping said, I really feel that my days are over. If you ask me to be like other people and take land and build a house peacefully, I feel like I can't do it. Didn't you already build a building? Lu Ligan said. What's different is that it was done in one go, Meng Ping said. After I finished it and thought about it, I didn't believe that I could build such a house. Moreover, people were different at that time. It's the wrong year. What's wrong? Zhang Chen asked. It's no longer simple. In the past few years, everyone helped each other. That was really called helping. Now it's like, before anything is done, focus on the interests first. People's ideas are different. Now it seems that everyone is panicking. Even if I am afraid that I have no money, I will become a bit vicious. Meng Ping said, I actually don't like the relationship between people. It has become like this. Even if you make money, you should earn it with dignity. You deserve it. You don't need to tell me. I know it in my heart and will definitely give it to you. No, it is necessary to do this, and if the money is not received, the money will keep flowing, which makes people look down upon. It's just building a house. What's so difficult about building a house? Lu Ligan said. What you think is not difficult, I think it is difficult, Pol. Everyone has weaknesses. I know where my Meng Ping's weaknesses are. You let me do it like a social butterfly. Let me sit down and be down to earth. I can't actually do one thing. Meng Ping said. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan laughed, and Lu Ligan cursed, damn it, you have 2 centimeters of hair on your legs, and you are still a social butterfly. Meng Ping also laughed. He said, I really often feel that I am a social butterfly. I don't have anything to do with women. But when I walk among men, I am like a fish in water. Let me tell you, I am most suitable for it. In fact, or be like Heiken, be a second-hand dealer, take in with one hand and take out with the other, divide the money when you are done, goodbye. Now, if you want me to build a house by myself, I can't do it. Besides, I have many friends and good face. Originally, everyone is helping you. If someone asks you to help, you should also help. So I have something if you trespass. If I build a house, my cost will definitely be higher than yours, and the quality of the house will definitely be worse than yours. I can't shame you to blame others. I can't pull him down either, Lu Ligan said. It's Lao Tan and Tan Shahen who can pull him down. Yes, at least you still have these 2 people. I don't. I'm not talking about you. You have to admit it yourself. After you got your wife, you seem to have become more organized in all aspects, right? It turns out that it is also the same. The group is in chaos, Meng Ping said. Lu Lizan nodded. I admit that she and Lao Tan are indispensable for me now. I am a reckless person and am used to bumping into each other. They know the direction and apply the brakes. The most important thing is these 2 people. I can trust you 100%. This is very rare. I envy you just thinking about it, Meng Ping said. If I were in front and there was such a person behind me, I would feel at ease. Don't you have Qian Fang and the others? Zhang Chen said. Why can't you work together? It's because of you that they went from Heiken to Wuxi and then to Nanjing. Yes, wouldn't it be nice if you guys want to be together like in Heiken, Lu Ligan also said. How could you end up like that? Meng Ping sneered. He said, they are different from your noble wife. Your noble wife can hold you. Qian Fang and the others are not strong enough. If they were enough, in fact, they felt that there was a risk in Heiken, but they caught me early. If I couldn't be held back, they could only make small moves. Fortunately, they made small moves and still had some chance to turn over. Meng Ping puffed on his cigarette. After a while, he asked, Zhang Chen, Ganzi, do you know why I had to separate from Qian Fang and the others after we came out? Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan both shook their heads. Meng Ping said, when I came out, I saw that they were doing a good job. They were doing a good job without me. If I go in again, I would cause trouble, so you must insist on working alone. Qian Fang is very capable. She is a bit like me and has a lot of drive. Ya Yulan is very cautious. She can't hold me back, but she can hold Qian Fang. Su Jiaking looks carefree, but she is very careful and a perfectionist. Cao Zia he is older than them, has more experience than them, and is less troubled, but the 3 of them regard her as the eldest sister. When there are any conflicts between them, Cao Zia he can mediate and resolve the conflicts. So they are a perfect combination. If I go in, I will break their combination, so I can't go in. Then the horse will go in now, Lu Ligan asked. Having him join is the icing on the cake. In this company, there are always things that are difficult for women to come forward. He can do it. He has a broad face and Su Jiaking can also control him. The most important thing is that he is not as aggressive as me and will not destroy them. Balance. As Meng Ping spoke, Jiang Chen remembered that when Li Yang and Su Jiaking were together, they would just stand aside and keep laughing and laughing, as if Su Jiaking was making the decision on everything. He felt that what Meng Ping said was they are all right, and I understand Meng Ping's difficulties. Then are you really not going to do real estate anymore? Jiang Chen asked. Let's see, I feel that my era of profiteers has passed, Meng Ping said. If that doesn't work, how about providing for retirement? Anyway, there are still hundreds of millions in cash on the account. Every year, just like you, the 5I can rent out a high-rise shopping mall and still have tens of millions in rental income, which can be used for retirement, but it's a pity. What's a pity? Jiang Chen asked. It's a pity that I don't have your hobbies. If I were like you and could draw, I would carry a picture folder and go sketching all over the world. Unlike a Pole, I could write a book and ask a few female assistants to sit around and write my memoirs. Meng Ping laughed as he said, I am a person with few hobbies. Don't you like to be a social butterfly? Lu Ligan said. Yes, this is the trouble. If you ask me to live in seclusion in the mountains, I can't do it. I have to be in the city and among the crowd to survive, Meng Ping said. Lu Ligan thought about it and asked, Lao Meng, you have to wait and see. Then what phone call did you make earlier? Do you still need to contact the collection and storage center and the planning bureau? You have a good idea. I can help Qian Fang and the others get some land. They are also short of land, Meng Ping said. By the way, Meng Ping, what's going on between you and Qian Fang? Jiang Chen asked. What's going on? We're fine. No, I mean, I have always felt that Qian Fang likes you very much, so it is impossible for you to go further. Go further? How to get in? Like you and Xiao Zhao, Meng Ping said, to be honest, I also like Qian Fang, but we both know that there is no way we can be together. Why? As I said before, we are so similar. She is like a smaller version of me. We are two very similar people. We get along very well when we work together. Because it is a work relationship, there is still distance between us, and there are also superiors and subordinates. In a good relationship, each other will be restrained. Even if they have a big quarrel, they will immediately think about it and forgive each other, because it is all for work. But life is two different things. Two people living together feel that each other's status is equal. They don't know, and they don't feel the need to restrain themselves. They will completely let go. Such two people cannot live together. We must. If we live together, a comet will hit the earth. Meng Ping continued to smoke. When he finished smoking, he put the cigarette butt in his hand and flicked his index finger. The cigarette butt drew an orange arc in the darkness and landed downstairs. I don't want one day to become like our old man and old lady, Meng Ping said. Thank you to readers 1297873838407110656, Dal Tin Soldier, who reads books every day, and ranks third from top to bottom for the reward. Thank you to Tianying 1978, Ching Feng Kuagang, Happy Lu Hong, and $$ wandering # for your monthly votes. Thanks for all the votes and reading. I wish you all good health.